Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom and Valerie AMES, and I'm just going to um, do this video on some things that I have written over the past couple of days. And it's taken me a couple of days, and some of the things will be different when I get to them because I was looking for a way to record so that I could upload on YouTube. So the last videos I did are only on Facebook, and I don't know how to convert them into a form that is compatible. So it is what it is, and I'm just going to go ahead and begin. I wrote this 6/17/19 at 9:31 a.m. and it is, I guess you could call it prose. Um, just something I woke up with. And here we go. Tell me truly, beloved. Answer me from the deepest part of all of your vast wisdom and unending, unconditional love. Is it arrogance to need to save that which I co-created with you and in which I am currently expressing us? Or is it, my beloved divine one, the ultimate ignorance to believe that I am helpless and victimized by parasitic ego, who needs to dominate even this simple process of expressing that I am? Even as I observe the stillness inside the chaos of it all, the perfect beauty of and balance sought and achieved on all, separating, keeping me bound to the freedom of thy will, exquisite. Okay, let me read that again. Even as I observe the stillness inside the chaos of it all, the perfect beauty and of balance sought and achieved on all spectrums, keep me bound to thy freedom of thy will, of thy exquisite freedom of thy will. Sorry, beloveds, my writing is something else. When I get to scratching, it just is what it is. This was written yesterday, 6/18/19 at 8:54 a.m. And this is a bit deep because it just took me to some very it took me on a journey that I had no idea that I was going to be going on. And once arriving in this space, it was just so beautiful that what I was writing just began to flow. And when I get to that part, you'll see it because it's really beautiful. It touched on some memories, and it gave me a bit of a revelation that I had been ignorant to before. But now I can appreciate in all of its layers, all of its depth. And I can remember having conversations with my mother when she would tell me, one day you will understand. The looks on my face, I may not say anything, but my eyes tell it all. And I would not speak back to her. I would not backtalk to her. But I guess whatever I was feeling was always present in my eyes. And so my eyes would get me, I realize now that's what would get me in trouble. I wouldn't have said anything, but it was the look. And I guess it was the energy that I was giving off. And so, like I said, I realized this took me to a place that gave me such a deeper insight into myself and into my mother and into the relationship I had with my mother. And I don't know if you've been following me, but this self-inquiry journey for me, this quest, is all about healing. It's about healing me in the present moment, because this is a present. Being able to do this is a present. It is a gift of Holy Spirit. It is the greatest expression of unconditional love, to be able to tap into this energy and to heal genetically and alter what is within me, and know that this is what I'm doing, and this is what this journey is truly all about. And knowing that as I heal what I need to heal within me, I am tapping into past lifetimes. Okay, there's no other way to say it. Past lifetimes, other dimensions, whether they are now, past, present, future, however we choose to look at time and space, none of it is relevant when you tap into this journey of who am I? And that is the most vast question you could ask. It is not limited concept. When you truly seek to answer that question, you need to understand you are not specifically speaking of who you identify yourself with when you were born this time. The things that happened to you. When you ask, who am I? You have to realize that you are genetically encoded from the beginning of when you began. And this is what you're asking. And as you began healing that as well. By changing the codes within yourself now, you change the codes all the way through. So what's coming in the future will be changed because you're changing what you need to change now. And this has been confirmed to me in dreams and visions, and just in, I guess you would call them downloads or epiphanies or damn kind of moments. And so let me just get to it, beloveds. It's really it's really powerful. Really, really powerful. And again, this is my journey. This is how I am experiencing my journey. I mentioned a couple of names in the beginning of this, in this dream I had. Please do not take this personal. This is a dream. You can interpret it any kind of way you want. I hold no attachments to this dream. I am not banking or counting on this dream. This dream is not affecting my current emotions, evaluations, or discernment, or feelings, or thoughts. It was a dream, pure and simple. The information and the revelations that I need, I have gotten, and I speak them. So beyond that, what you get beyond that that's on you, boo. But here we go. The continuing lesson of the empath and the narcissist. Revelation, the favorite vibration for the narcissist to feed upon, is fear. And if fear cannot be inspired, then the next response it needs to be fed is your anger. And let me just make this clear, beloveds, because this was very profound for me. And understand that we all have the narcissist and the empath concept within us. That's the yin and the yang. That's the black and the white. That's the two wolves. So don't think I'm speaking outside of myself when I say narcissist, because I am just as narcissistic and just as empathic as anybody else. So I'm not taking this off of my own shoulders. I own what's me. I own what's me. I identify what's me. I've asked, show me me. Who am I? And I'm being shown. Valerie, you are narcissistic. a narcissistic and an empath. And this is the struggle. And when you're being one, that part is getting fed, and the other is passive, but it's getting fed as well. So when you're being the empath, you're dealing with a narcissistic person that's going to feed that empathic part of you. And when you're being the empath, you're dealing with, when you're being the narcissist, you're dealing with the empathic part of the other person who is feeding from the narcissist. So it is a union. And this is what I've learned. This is also can be termed as the male and the female essence of we're both. And when we communicate with another being, we have to understand the conversation and the energy that's being exchanged is being exchanged with the masculine, the feminine, or the united being. So it's very, like I said, this is me learning me. Okay, here I go. Again, revelation, the favorite vibration for the narcissist to feed upon is fear and chaos. Okay? The narcissist wants that. It needs that to feel whole and holy within itself. The narcissist needs to put you in a place. It needs to dominate and manipulate you. It needs to play with your mind and your emotions. Okay? And it can be consciously or unconsciously, but it's being done. Believe me, as a mama, I know. As a daughter, I know. As a grandmama, I know. As a woman, I know. I know. You know what you know, and can't nobody tell you differently. But like I said, this is who I am. This is for me. But if it helps you, then so be it. But this is for me. And when you cannot inspire fear, then anger. And if anger can't be done, then you want pity or to be the victim, or you have to understand the narcissist's need to put you in a state, okay? And you have to understand the empathic part of you that needs to feel what that state is, or to identify with that other person and find out why they're doing this to you. You give them excuses. They were never loved. They were hurt. Oh, they're this and they're that. This is the trade. This is what duality is. Okay, oneness is union. You don't have all of this. You flow. You don't think. Let me just get back to what I was writing. Think angry black man. Think angry black woman. Think of the emotional energy caused by slavery, caused by abuse, caused by you awakening to the truth of your emotions. And let me just say where I'm going with this. Right now, we're dealing with a very narcissistic system. And the energy that is being stirred up, and I've been observing this energy because I've been a part of it. I've been that angry black woman, that angry black mama, that angry black. What y'all did wasn't right, and what you mothers, okay? But what I was not consciously aware of is the system feeds upon that. It caters to that. It wants you to stay in that sense of yourself. that you are a descendant of a slave, that we beat you, we did this to you, we did that to you, it was horrible, it was horrific, and you died many deaths, and blah, 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 blah. And they keep you in that state, beloved. Then you die. You get high blood pressure, you get heart attacks, you get cancer, you worry yourself to death. You're so angry, you feel hopeless and helpless that nothing will change, and you never are still enough to realize who you are. Because they are conditioning you with images, with songs, with pictures, with history. And yes, it's the truth. But there is another truth too. Like I said, when you begin to pull all of this together and you begin to rise above what they want you, who they want you to be, this victim, this angry black person, then that is what you become. Because they've hooked you with your feelings, with your empathy, with your sense of justice. And that spirit part of you is now diminished because that persona that they sold long time ago is bearing its fruit. And its fruit is anger, violence, hatred, rape, murder, gangs, broken families, catfishing, disrespect of women and mamas and daughters and sisters, raping and killing babies. And if you think I'm lying, look at the news. But like I say, this is called grooming. This is called conditioning. This is called molding. This is called manipulating your DNA and your genetic makeup and instrumenting and creating a history and a future that keeps you bound. And this is not just to the black people, because while there's been an earth, there's always been a slave. Man cannot rule over man without knowing him, that he's more than just a man. Man is an animal. Human, he's an animal. He's animalistic. He's at that root chakra. He's still at that caveman propensity. I don't give a ding dang how much technology he has advanced to. He is still killing each other. And that is because the spiritual knowledge and truth of how to tap in and use the universal laws that bring about the fruitage of the spirit for all is very limited and has been hidden, because it is the greatest treasure of all. And you got to dig for it. And you got to map it out, and you've got to find it. And just like on any journey, you're going to face many demons, and you've got to overcome them. And if you got to retrace your steps, then baby, retrace them. If you got to start all over again from nothing, then you start all over again. But don't you give up. Don't you give up. Because when you get to that place that your ancestors knew of before this sleep time took over, baby, you have arrived home. And it ain't nothing this system can put before you that you don't know how to see. And it is about your emotions. Get your emotions in check. Understand that there is an energy that feeds upon it. Just like you produce when you're angry. I won't say angry. When you're, here we go. When you are sexually turned on, you release pheromones. That means your hormones has secreted different essences and it's coming out of your skin. And it's coming off as heat. It's coming off in a way that whoever is around you can sense it and know that you are turned on. Whether you are speaking that or not. There's an energy. When you are pissed off, there is an energy. You don't have to say you pissed off. And you don't get those two confused. You don't get, is she pissed off or is she turned on? No, this is very clear. It's very clear. Understand your feelings. Release dopamine and all kind of stuff within you. And those that feed upon that like to keep you in states where that's all you're creating. That's the only energy you're giving off. You're in that constant state of that constant angry black man, angry black woman, angry black child. Let me get to it. Know thyself, control thyself, equals self-inquiry, equals God, equals calm, equals the ultimate state of peace, compassion, and all the other fruits of the Spirit. You got to be able to know those fruits of the Spirit, and you got to become masters at each one of them. You got to master each one of them. And no, baby, it ain't easy because you're fighting against yourself. It's not about somebody else. You're fighting against that narcissist inside of you, and you're fighting against that empathic part of you. That narcissist is that, what have I been calling it? That masochistic, no, not the masochistic, the sadistic. The narcissistic self is the sadistic self. Part of you. Part of your way of thinking, part of your way of being, part of your way of acting, part of your way of reacting. Okay? The empathic part of you is part of your way of being, part of your way of seeing. That's the masochistic part. That's okay. I'll just deal with it. Okay. I'll take it. I won't look at that. I'll think about that tomorrow. Did that really happen? That didn't really happen. They meant this. They didn't know no better. So understand, I'm not talking about somebody else. I'm talking about what's within each of us. And right now I'm talking about me specifically. Those fruits of the spirits, beloved, that is what saves you. That is what feeds you. Remember those two wolves we talked about in the Cherokee story? We talked about which one do you feed, but we didn't talk about what do you feed them. You either gonna feed them the fruitage of the spirit or the works of the flesh. And I'm not speaking of nothing new. This is ancient. And for those of you who want to say, well, I don't read the Bible, I don't believe in the Bible, man wrote the Bible, blah, 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 blah. How is you talking and walking? Somebody had to write and teach that and write about it and everything else the same way that that Bible was written. The same way every African proverb was written. The same way Lao Tzu wrote. Same way Sun Tzu wrote. Same, they wrote it down so you would know. The Vedas, the Gita. Don't matter. The message is the same. Master yourself. Master your emotions. Find the God being within you, your highest self. But you got to be able to tame these emotions and reactions. And you got to be able to observe yourself. Okay? I'm not talking about observing nobody else. You'll need to master that. Master observing yourself. Your response, your immediate responses. This is how you begin to heal yourself. This is how you begin to heal generational wounds. This is how you pay it forward to the future. This is how you understand that you are a multidimensional being and that you are immortal and you are able to grasp it without it being so vast and so big that you can't wrap your mind around it. See, when I was praying, I asked, this is big. Break it down for me. How do I break this down? How do I see this? How do I understand and make it plain? And it's being made plain. Let me keep going. Think Django, Samuel L. Jackson, and Leonardo DiCaprio, Jamie Foxx. Wow, the words within those names. Django. The D is silent. Django. John Go. Samuel. Samuel. Jack's son. Leon. Lion. Ard. DiCaprio. Jamie Foxx. And this is the movie Django. And I want you to think about all the emotion that each of these actors, each of these characters portrayed. The energy of it and how it affected you. And what your responses were to that energy. that you receive that's sitting there as an empath, and they being the narcissist wanting you to see what they doing. And you, the empath, observing and getting it all. Mm-hmm. Let me keep going. Think Django, Samuel L. Jackson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jamie Foxx. Wow. The words within the names. Okay, don't get distracted. Focus. Each character, care of the actor. Character, care of the actor. To the emotions portrayed, imitated, inspired to cause a reaction in you because they have gotten in character, care of the actor. So now the play is upon you. For your emotions, your emotions are you, not entertained, entertained. Meaning, did the writers, did the actors, did they not succeed in stirring your shit pot of emotions through your senses, through your mind, body, and soul? And let me break that down a bit for you. Because see, as you was watching that, your blood pressure went up, your breathing changed, your it took you to places and things that you had experienced, or things genetically that you, memories that you hadn't touched upon. It brought about anger. How many of you liked Samuel L's character? But you love Samuel L. But that character, he did his job. He brought out that empath in you. He brought out that narcissist in you that wanted to do stuff to him. Did he stir the shit pot of your emotions through your senses, through your body, mind, and soul by appealing to your eye, your perception, because the eye is the window of the soul, the window to the soul, the window to the soul. So what you felt and what you were thinking was a reflection on your soul. Was a reflection on your soul. Are you aware enough of yourself to even understand you were seeing what was in your soul? That was a mirror for you. Those images, those words, those tones, that energy that they were acting and portraying. It caused hormonal releases in you. It made you feel a certain way. And the way we see each other determines our deepest desires. The way we see ourselves and each other determines our deepest desires. Meaning this is what we manifest. This is what we truly want. This is who we truly are. So if you're sitting there thinking what you would like to beat the hell out of Samuel L. Jackson's character, understand that that's a part of your soul. No matter how sweet, loving, and gentle you are, to the deepest part of your soul, the darkest part. There you go. That's you. And being children, incarnated spirit, free to express itself in the form of sensitive flesh, emotions, and addictive hormones. And hormones were spelled, the word was broke up, WHORE, and moans, MOANS. Hormones, okay? We fuck ourselves crazy. That blew me away, beloved. I had to stop writing. I had to put this down for a minute, and I had to think about that. Everything is about sex. The only thing we were told, the first thing we were told, be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. This is what we're doing. Every time we think a thought, because of who we are connecting with the universe, and we are creating. We are fucking. We are making love. And some of it is blissful and some of it is rape and is not pleasant at all. And you reap what you sow. So understand the flow. I didn't mean that to be poetic, but it is what it is. Let me keep going. We fuck ourselves crazy, conceiving more ways to manifest / give birth to our fix, satisfy our emotional craving, which is an addiction, our score, our hit. Notice how those words work in the arts field of music and movies, scores and hits and addictions and cravings and our fix and giving birth to them and satisfaction and manifesting, and how addiction is rampant in the field of the arts. And what's the greatest thing you see going on? Sex sells, baby. So they're not only making love to your mind, they working your hormones overtime. So you can get that. And it's not just you sitting up there watching rated X pornography. You could get your fix by sitting up there watching somebody hold hands, or watching The Notebook, like me, sitting up there crying because it's so romantic. Okay? It just depends on you and your own individual soul, what rocks your boat. But we are all getting played by our reactions and our interactions with everything that we see, touch, think, say, feel, believe, don't believe. Who can not only be inspired to give birth to what they feel, but their children / art causes others to feel. Be inspired, meaning it feels / satisfies the narcissist empath receptors within their own being. And beloveds, this is about to get real deep, but I'm just going to keep on going. That is why an artist that says, I created this, but I would rather hear / know / feel your interpretation, how it inspired you. Now, beloveds, I want you to understand the empath and the narcissist and the round and round merry-go-round of it. How many critics to movies, to books, to art, to music are there? Like I said, this is give and take. This is giving and take, inspiring. Whether you inspire fear, whether you inspire awe, whether you inspire lust, whether you inspire love, whether you inspire trust or hope, or all the fruits of the Spirit or all the works of the flesh, you are inspiring. Somebody is receiving. Somebody is critiquing. Let me keep going. Inspire equals to breathe in. Inspire. Breathe in. Where does the God within you reside? Inspire. So every time you're taking a breath, you're giving breath back to the God that gave you the first breath. Trees give us the ability to be inspired, to breathe in, and we in turn feed the tree with carbon dioxide on the outward breath. Think the Cherokee story of the wolves. What is your inner God being inspired with, being fed with? What kind of emotion induced hormones is getting paid so that help pimp the nervous system can keep your inner God saturated in the hormones, juicy, wet essence of orgasmic bliss. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. Blew my mind, beloveds. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. The hormones coach your nervous system. Works with your nervous system. Where your endorphins and your addictions and everything else, where all of that stays juicy, wet, and when it gets dry and you be craving some more and you got to go out and when you got to pick a fight with somebody just because you need to piss them off and watch them and feed off that energy. Or when you need to hug somebody because not only are you sharing that warmth with them and bringing that up out of them, but it's also coming up in you. AKA scoring and getting your fix. Dopamines to an end. Dope, D-O-P-E, is a means to an end. The movie Equalizer, all the comic books, and the music, Nina Simone, baby. And I am that which is feeling good. Don't you know? Your battles is not against flesh, but the powers and principalities within yourself. Do you understand that? Is it becoming clear? It's what your soul wants. Your soul wants to get fed. All this anger, it's got to be fed. It's got to be fed with violence. It's got to be fed with disrespect. It's got to be fed by hurting somebody else. You got to make them pay because you got to score your hit. You need your fix. You got to put them in their place. Self means self-mastery. Control of self equals control of vibrations and manifestations. Mean spirit of the fruits of the spirit rule as the powers and principalities over the flesh, which you have now truly transcended. See, when you're dealing with the works of the flesh, those desires, those needs, those hormones, you got to use the fruitage of the spirit on them. You can look at the fruitage of the spirit being the yin and the works of the flesh being the yang, or vice versa, depending on how you want to use it. But it's the same essence, beloveds. But to bring about balance, you need to cultivate and master and incorporate the fruits of the spirit, because that is what is lacking in this system. The works of the flesh are rampant. It's overrun, it's overwhelming. It's everywhere you look. And nobody knows what to do. Here you go. Start using the fruits of the spirit to combat that. Spirit of the flesh. The works of the flesh, oh baby. When they want your anger, give them some patience. When they want some fear, give them some love. When they want jealousy and all of this, give them some gentleness. Give them some understanding. But also stay in you, in the love of yourself. And stand with them fruits. Offer them fruits. Here you go. Understand what the works of the flesh is. And I ain't talking about in another being. I'm talking about in you. Identify it in you first. And then no matter how it comes, you'll recognize it. Because you recognized it in yourself first. The spirit rules as the powers and principalities over the flesh, which you have now truly transcended. You have to use the fruitage of the spirits to transcend the flesh. That lower Adamic, animus, bestial nature, narcissistic nature. You have to use the fruitage of the spirit. This is the kind of hormonal release that is healing, that heals generational wounds. Okay? It cuts it off at its root. And it gets rid of the shit pot. The epiphany, this revelation, and this is the part where I said, Don't um, take these names and just run with them any way you want to. This is a dream. And so this is that part. And so let me keep going. The epiphany, this revelation, came to me in a dream in which I have been highly engaged in both my waking and sleeping conscious mind. I hope you heard that. The observer sees slash observes the puzzle being worked out. It witnesses the unlimited combinations and observes the harmonious alignment of the pieces. It observes the image that is beginning to take form. But not once does the observer say, I am that puzzle, or does it? Do you see the humor inside that paradox? And thus my anger and depression are not fitting these pieces together in first bird position is truly entertaining to one with no beginning and no ending. If the fruits of the Spirit are to be cultivated and desired, what is more blissful? What is more orgasmic than self-joy? Making yourself happy with the score, with the play, with the art, with the music that you have with divine intellect and will. Okay, now the writing got crazy. As you can see, it started going on the sides and all over the place. So bear with me. On this journey called life. Let me read that part again, beloved. If the fruits of the Spirit are to be cultivated and desired, what is more blissful, what is more orgasmic than self-joy? Making yourself happy with the score, play, art, music that you have with divine intellect and will. How at peace you must feel knowing that each time the puzzle will be completed. Now, let me just go ahead. Okay, that is pointing there. One of the notes that I put on here was a claymation. When I was little, I used to watch, I think it came on Sunday when no other cartoons was on, but it came on early in the morning, and it was a Christian cartoon. It was claymation. It was called David and Goliath. It was a little boy named David, and Goliath was his dog. And the note that I wrote here was, we are not alone. Unseen forces are with us on this journey called life. Okay. What is David without Saul and Goliath? What is Samson without Delilah and the Philistines? What is Jesus without the devil? So, beloveds, this is just showing you pairings of the narcissist and the empath, the dances that are going on. And the whole point of this dance is for you to know who you are and to overcome that part of yourself that is the lower part of you. And this is what cells are, and this is how people develop cancer cells and all kind of other things. These are expressions and expansions and dis-ease. Think about David and Saul. Think about David being that young shepherd boy and him being chosen to go and be with Saul, to play music, to soothe Saul. The relationship best friend was Saul's son, Jonathan. And David at that point had so much respect, or he knew himself by the fruits of his own spirit, and he recognized everything within his own soul, that he said, who am I to kill Saul, who has been anointed by God? I don't care what y'all say. I'm not going to kill. I'll kill anybody, but I'm not touching that. That was anointed by God. God will take care of that. And I don't care how many situations he was put in where he could have taken Saul's life. He did not. Because at that point, he was still aligned with himself. Samson, Nazarite, gave it all up for Delilah, who betrayed him. But he realigned himself. He knew himself once again in the cell, in the turning of those millstones, in the being juked at and just dogged. He got an understanding of himself in the midst of all of this going on around him. And he brought that house down. He redeemed himself. Not for nobody else, but for himself. For his own soul. His own vow that he made. I am and I will do this. He did what he said he was going to do. Yeah, he messed up. But he made it back up. By knowing and remembering himself. Okay. Jesus and the devil. Jesus in the garden knew he was about to die. Knew what was coming. Not only felt it, but saw it. Knew what his mother and all those he loved was going to go through. And all of those feelings, his mind got to whooping his ass. And he said, Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Don't let me have to drink this. Don't let me have to imbibe these feelings. Don't let me have to see this and deal with this. Don't let me have to go through this. Don't let me have to feel this way. But if it is your will, then so be it. Face what you need to face and know that you do not face it alone. Whatever your addictions manifest, face it. Transcend it. That is your purpose. And that will give you more pleasure, baby, than anything else in this world. Believe me. Let me keep going. How at peace you must feel, knowing that each time the puzzle will be completed. And each time an age, cycle, season, cipher has completed, an expansion / new birth takes place for you to observe in the pattern. So understand, nothing is new. But we've reached a point now where we've looked and tried everything. And so now the only place to go is within. The one place we have not went. It's time. That's the age of Aquarius. That is the waters of the womb. Filling that womb back up. Drop by drop. With those hormones, with those pheromones, with those juices, with the union. And a whole new image of you slash God slash source slash existence slash great spirit slash authentic self begins to take form before your eyes again. This is a multidimensional cellular regeneration and mutation. The one cell becoming multiple cells to express new life. Think Rihanna in that movie, and I can't think of the name of the movie, but she could assume any forms that was in her memories, complete with that form's memories and motivations and styles and the age and whatever else. I cannot think of the name of that movie, but it was a very, very beautifully written movie, and it was beautiful. And let me move on. And I wrote on the side here, let the buyer beware, the store of bound diaries. Be aware, your boundaries. We are all bound diaries. We all are stores of information. We all have written down stories of ourselves. And these stories and experiences are our boundaries. And we use these boundaries to define ourselves and to confine ourselves, to keep people in and to keep people out, to keep experience in and to let experience out, to release experience. So here we go. Cherokee story. Which one wins? It's not a competition. It is a puzzle that is a divine expression capable of unlimited final fantasies known to us as the circle of life. 0. The womb. The most fertile nation of images. Can you see what I see through the womb of I, my soul, child? Can you dig? The native of the earth mother, the nature of the earth mother in this now present moment. Ask yourself this question: is the present to myself present, which means awake and growing in my womb? Is it alive or just still? Is it kicking, moving, or is it sleeping and growing? And are you even aware of its existence? Now, do you understand, understand, overstand the play, puzzle, cycle, season, surface that is being presented as in the birth, the crowning, in the divine feminine essence returning to your memory of yourself and why? The patriarchal actors are performing the way they are, and why the sacred marriage, the divine union of the masculine and feminine within you that will create a harmonic hormone response in your biological vehicle, vessel, container that will once again allow you to exist way past 100 years of age. When you realize with real eyes this gift of presence, this grace, this Holy Spirit that frees you from within and forges your truth by flooding you and releasing hormones, divine endorphins of confirmation called birthing the golden child. Paradise, a golden age, is achieved. Dwell in this season of your cipher being completed, this is your reward. Only know and accept the expression of who I am, has no beginning, nor does it have an ending. Don't believe me, blush and giggle. Look in the mirror, which is a window to your soul. Dream for later reading when I have forgotten. Funny how I tried to. Oh, I spoke of the dream and I disassociated and skipped. And then I got to the end of all of this that I wrote. And of course, I was being held accountable to put the dream out there. So no matter how I wanted to skip around it and go over it, the Spirit says, so here we go. Dream for later reading. When I have forgotten. Funny how I try to avoid this dream of Ray, Ashtar, Koya, multiple time frames and memories. Past, present, future. Back in a house similar to the one on Allendale in Detroit where I lived when I was in my early 20s. My upstairs neighbor, not having been living there, suddenly comes downstairs in a fox coat, royally, getting in at first a pastel sky blue car with her baby's daddy, and then driving back by herself in a black muscle-like car. And the season felt like autumn to me. Okay, and then as she came back and I saw the car, it switched to winter. Then winter, I am going stir crazy inside the house. I go outside and Ash is out sitting on his porch with a few friends. I mumble to myself of the language in mixed discontent. I put my chair so it has my back facing them. I hear their laughter. It seems to have elevated for my behalf. I focus on what is before me. There's a couple of pussy willow kind of things growing, but they are iced over in a beautiful new grass green like ice. And I pick one, lost in its beautiful haunting but peaceful vibration, zoned out totally with it. My left hand is not gloved, but my right hand is gloved. I am holding it in my right hand, but examining it with my left, playing with the melting essence as it clings to my fingers and then falls away. I'm like that, y'all, even in my dreams, I guess, but it played out. Brought back to the present by the connection to Ash, I realize I have been rocking in this old metal outdoor chair. And you have to remember those old metal chairs, and the back is like has these lines down it, and it's metal, and you rock, and it just makes a noise, and it has a feel to it, and a sound and the textures. It's its own thing. And so I get up, I'm in this chair. I get up and go into the house and begin to do dishes, realizing I have tapped into unlimited energy, which I am going to make sure I use to get some things done, because when you reside in your own head, there are always outside things that don't get their proper attention. Quota. Giggle. And beloveds, let me just say, I was so zoned into this pussy willow thing that was this iced over with this beautiful new green grass color ice, crystallization over it. And I was holding it and it was melting. And I was so lost in that I didn't hear, no, the world did not exist outside of that. I had totally zoned. And so coming back, I am brought back feeling this connection with this person who is on their back porch with their friends, laughing and hooting and hollering and just having a good old funky time. And it releases all these feelings in me. And I tap into this new energy and I get up full of this energy and I go in the house and just start doing these dishes and stuff. And I'm sure you have moments where you've been like that. One minute you've been, and then something will piss you off or make you happy or arouse you in some kind of way, and you tap into this stream of energy. And it's just sweet in that energy. Okay. And how it is summer now. Anyhow, it is summer now. And I can see in the opposite side of the house is Larry, whose voice I hear talking but never see, and Koya, who appears in many different faces, masks, guises, and appearances. She has come onto my back porch with a young adolescent child, and I cannot tell if this child is a boy or girl, and it feels like both. Anyway, she wants me to donate to the child's school cause, and she expects me to do this, and I react in a way that is hard to describe. Angry, compassionate, and totally ambivalent and disconnected all at the same time. Conversation happens between us, between she and I. The feeling that I wake up with from this, I will never apologize because your anger makes me happy, and if I can put you into a state of conscious anger, hopelessness, fear, and self-doubt, then I am the wolf inside of you that wins. And you don't even know our true connection. I can't breathe to inspire you without your feelings. Your love, empath and narcissist, yin yang exchange. So this is what I woke up with. This isn't what she had said to me. But from this dream, all of these revelations, all of these downloads from this dream, all of these realizations were just boom, 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 popping like popcorn in my head, you know? And it was very, very, very moving. I'll put it that way. And let me just keep going. Without your feelings for me. So in other words, what she was saying is that you are never in a situation where you want to feel a certain way about somebody else. And that person, just like when, this is how it was showed to me because I asked for clarification with it. Just like when you are feeling somebody and they call you on the phone, you have connected with that person. Whether you call it telepathy or whatever you want to call it, there is a connection. And you cannot get outside of that connection. But the more, no matter if it's a good thing or a bad situation, good situation or a bad situation, the more of your attention that you give to it, the more you are hooked into the feelings of it, of whatever that situation. Where they were good, you hooked into the good feelings. They were bad, you're hooked back into the bad feelings. If they were both, you're hooked back in the whole situation. And you're courted and recorded again and again. And this is where all of this is coming from. Understanding the narcissist and the empath, and why you paired yourself and why the universe has paired you with certain people and certain situations in your life for you to understand yourself. And it is not about judging the other person. Because if there were no yin and yang, if there was nothing to exchange, the situation wouldn't happen. So just like you're getting something, you're giving something. Just like you're giving something, you're getting something from the situation, whether it's positive or negative or pleasant or unpleasant. And it's not about judging the situation. It's not about judging the other person. It is about learning about your own soul force. How are you in the fruits of the spirit in this situation, or are you in the works of the flesh? Like I said, this is about self-inquiry. This is about self-identity. This is about healing what needs to be healed, releasing what needs to be released, holding no grudges, holding no resentment, holding none of that negative stuff. Because that gives off an energy that vibrates through the world and that feeds the world right along with everything else. So you have to be careful of what you are feeding the world. The more you're able to feed from the fruits of the spirit, baby, you will start to see changes within yourself, with the energy around you. That's what this is about. Okay, let me keep going. This is our love. This, and it is unconditional inside this present moment, which is all a dream that I am entertaining myself with in order to expand in my ability to express myself, that I am, and all and nothing, with no beginning nor ending. 0 times 0 equals 0. The innocent mind of a child, there is no side. Like I said, I'm trying to read my writing. Here we go. This is about the King Arthur Ebola flower. The flower is gold, not the other way around. So when it says the flower is the gold, it means what comes from the earth is the gold. Because what came from that earth is your ancestors. Your ancestors gave birth to that wheat that was pounded and cooked and made into flour. Not cooked, but ground and made into flour. You have to understand what the ancients are telling you. That this is the gold. It is not the land. It is what grows from the land. And this is what we eat. And this is what we feed and nurture our body with, to remind ourselves of who we are. We don't think like that. We need to, because we don't think like that, we don't respect our elders, our children, or the earth. We need to once again begin to understand the connection. That one day your flesh will die. And all that it is, even if it's cremated, the ashes itself, that will go into this earth. And that earth will grow flowers, fruit, trees. If water covers it, it will feed the fish. It will help the coral. It will do some. Every part of you is part of this circle of life, all that exists. We each are influenced by everything. Nothing is wasted. The piece of the pie. Pie. Okay. Oh, okay. All is a piece of the pie. No matter who got the most fruit, no matter if their crust is darker or lighter, no matter if their piece look bigger or smaller than yours, it all came from the same pie. It's all the same pie. It's pie. It's in your mind they piece got more fruit. Or they piece might do have more fruit. Last time your piece might have had more fruit. What does that matter? Be grateful that you got pie. That's the mind of the child. That's the piece that I read down there. A child, an innocent child, is not worried about whose piece is bigger, about whose part has more fruit, or whose part has got more juice, or whose part is this. Or that child is just grateful they got to sit down and get some pie. I got pie. You, I got pie. That's all that matters. We need to get back there. We got pie, okay? God is God. The force is the force. The pie is the pie. That is how they're thought. You cannot control your own. Be grateful you got some pie. That's the innocent mind of the child. I got some pie. There is no side. And I was, I didn't know this was that long. Okay, the story of the little red hen. I won't go into it because um, this has been going on for a while now. Yes, I will. I'll tell it. The story of the little red hen. This was one of my favorite stories growing up. My father used to tell it to me all the time. And I got the book when I went to school, and it was just one of my favorite stories because of the lesson that it taught. I was deeply into Aesop's fables and Brer Rabbit and those kind of stories with what was the moral. I've talked about David and Goliath, that cartoon. That cartoon was always about the morals of the story. And so, beloveds, the moral of the story of the little red hen, here it is. Once upon a time, there was a little red hen, and she gave birth, she had chicks, and she grew wheat. And it was time to harvest the wheat, but there was nobody but her and her chicks. And she had all this wheat to harvest. And so she went around asking her neighbors and her friends, I grew all of this wheat. Can you help me harvest the wheat? And I'll give you some of the bread. You know, I'll share some of the wheat with you. I'll share if you can just help us with this. And everybody was, nah, we too busy. Nah. And so her and her chicks, they harvested all the wheat themselves. Got it all harvested. Then it came time to take the wheat to the mill to grind into flour. And she went around and she asked everybody, we harvested all our wheat. Can you help us take the wheat to the mill so that we could turn it into flour? Please? Nobody would help her. Nobody. So her and her little chicks, they took all the wheat to the mill, made so many trips, back and forth. Heavy work. Her and her little chicks, they did it. They got to the mill, and then they needed to grind it. And so she went around asking everybody, all her neighbors and friends, can you help me? Can you help me grind the mill, the flour? We harvested it and we got it to the mill. Can you help us grind it into flour, please? We could really use some help. No one would help her. No one. So her and her chicks, they got to that grind mill, that grist mill, and they went around and they round and round and they ground all that wheat into flour. And she ground it all up and she went around asking, can you help me bag it up and take it home? Can you help me bag up the flour and take it home, please? No one would help her, just her and her chicks. So her and her chicks bagged up all the flour and got it all home some kind of way. It's really hard, a lot of work. Nobody helped them. So she got there and she got it all there and she said, whew, okay, I know y'all hungry. Let's break some bread. So she went around and asked, I'm ready to bake the bread now. Can somebody come and help me bake the bread? Can somebody help me bake the bread? Nobody would help. Nobody. And so her and her little chicks, they baked all the bread. And ooh wee, that bread smelled so good. And everybody could smell it cooking. And they said, that red hen that cooked up some bread, boy. Woo! That bread smelled good. Let me go get me some of this bread. That bread smelled good. And so she was out there and she finished all cooking, taking the bread out the oven and cooking it. Had some, on the windows, getting warm, getting cooling off and stuff. Everybody walking by, smelling the bread and wanting some bread. And so she asked everybody to come over. Come over and eat some bread with us. So everybody came. And they brought their plates and their forks, and some brought butter and some brought jam and jelly, and they was just ready to tear up some of this homemade bread. And the little red hen stood up there and said, oh, I'm glad everybody could make it and you came here to eat, but ain't none of y'all getting none of this bread. Nobody but me and my chicks gonna eat this bread. Because when I needed help, wasn't nobody there but me and my chicks. When I needed help harvesting, planting, making it, grinding it in the flour, bringing it back home, cooking it, nobody wanted to lend a hand. But now that all the work is done, here y'all is, ready to eat. Well, me and my chicks done labored and slaved over. And each one of them got up and left. And they couldn't say nothing because it was the truth. And the moral of the story is, help. Even if you're not going to get nothing from it, help. Because you might get fed another way. Not that day, not that moment. Not even from that person. But what you reap, you sow. What you sow, you reap. Because the little red hen had sowed those seeds of that wheat. Her and her babies got to eat. A lot of other people were hungry. And that's the story of the little red hen, beloveds. And I'll leave it there. And I know this was a lot. It's been a lot for me to kind of be sitting here digesting myself, but it kind of is what it is. And like I said, I am grateful for being here in this place, in this spot that I am. And if what I am learning can help anyone else, here it is. Here it is. And I don't care how you rewrite it, reshape it, re-give it up, or whatever you do to it. Put your name on it, however you do it. I don't care about that stuff. And if I know there are some people that think that, and I don't care what other people think, but I'm just stating a fact, okay? They think that I care about getting credit for the things that come out of me. You have not a clue who I am, if that's what you think. Not a clue. Not a clue. Not a clue. These things come from spirit. And just like the little red hen and her chicks were taken care of, I am taken care of. I don't need to profit off of this. That's why I share it freely. But if it can be refined and it can be reworked and you put your time and effort into it, baby, I don't have no problem with you getting paid from it. None. None. Because that's my soul. That's who I am. And I don't expect you to understand that if that's not you, if that's not your way. It would seem different. It would seem foreign. It would seem fake. And I get it. But like I said, this makes me happy. This gives me joy. This allows me to bear witness to my own growth, my own soul's journey. And for that, I am much grateful, most grateful. To listen to myself now and to listen to myself, 10, 12 years ago, when I did some videos or when I was doing shows, the expression has deepened and it has grown. And like I said, it's feeding many. It's bearing fruit. Even when I'm working in the flesh, I'm learning to observe myself and know that I have the power to change that. And it's not on somebody else, it's on me. And that within itself, beloveds, that's growth. That's spiritual growth. And that's the grace of God. And I recognize it for what it is. And I am humbly thankful, regardless of what anybody else thinks. And so I just want to say, namaste. Enjoy your summer. Take time to observe and know who you are. Don't just be entertained by the actors, the characters, the play of life. Understand what is teaching you, what is giving you, what is gifting you with. Understand the need to be the master of you. And the way to do that is with the fruitage of the Spirit. And the greatest fruit is love. And with love, all the works of the flesh come to nothing. Smooches and big hugs. Oh, I can do it down here now. Forgot about that. I'm getting uppity now. Okay. Now I move this up here.